Hey everybody, welcome back to Omega Zone Gaming. So today, I figured since I haven't seen a lot of videos or even articles giving tips on Valkyria Revolution, I would do a top 5 tips video for when beginning a new game of Valkyria Revolution. So, number 5, as repetitive as this is going to sound, redo free missions. I know a lot of people are going to not be big on doing this aspect because of the fact that it's repetitive. You're killing the same enemies over and over again. It's not like you're fighting one of the Grand Generals or something where, you know, you're getting story completion out of it. But here is two big reasons to do this. A, your experience goes up every time. Like, even the smallest attributes, you could get a D ranking and your level will more than likely go up. So, I do recommend going through, and we'll just do this one as a quick example. So stick with me while we kill some enemies real quick. So, they went down, next group comes in. They're heading over to my base, so we'll go and route them real quick. So let's go ahead and route these guys real quick. I'm going to use a little bit of magic. Check your mission log as well while doing this. This sort of ties together. But, you know, as I said, you get experience for doing these missions. That's first and foremost. The other thing you get is items, mostly regicide, which is needed for upgrading your weapons in this game. This is not a typical RPG where you go and you get weapons every, couple hours. You find a new weapon. They more or less have a spear grid-esque system for leveling weapons in this game. So you keep the same core weapon, your main weapon, your melee weapon. Like this guy's here is the big buster sword looking thing. So you keep that all throughout this game for your main character, Emeth. Or Emeleth, or however you want to pronounce it. So, you keep the big buster looking sword thing for him all through. They keep their primary weapons as their primary weapons throughout the game. Regicide works sort of like how the spears worked in Final Fantasy X, whereas they will level your equipment. So let's go and cap off some of these enemies. Conquered that base. Oh, and sometimes you will get a little bit mixed. Sure. Like this time, I didn't get the big boss. Probably because I had him in my last mission I did. There's a big spider tank looking thing. Almost something from Metal Gear, if you would. That'll pop up occasionally. But we didn't get him that time. So, we'll finish this up. So, I'm going to show you this. I got an S and A ranking. I missed an enemy somewhere, more than likely. But I still got an S ranking overall. So, all those characters went up to level 20 that were at level 19. Then, look, I got 6 different pieces of regicide. So, as I said, number 5 is do free missions. Do them over and over again and report anything that you get afterwards. So I got bases captured that time. I didn't quite know my water alchemy or fire alchemy kills. But you can get cash, you can get items. So number 5 is do free missions over and over again. I know it sounds repetitive with them being basically exactly the same free missions every single time, but it is worth it. Okay, so for number 4, we are going to head over to Basil's factory. Basil is one of the 5 traders in this game, and he runs a factory that is developing your weapons. So first things first, after every chapter, go in and check your R&D and see if there's any new weapons to be developed. As you can see, so far I've developed every weapon up through this chapter. Equip the most powerful rifle for your rifle characters and launchers for your launcher characters. Battle palette. Set up at least, I recommend one of each main type of regicide. So water, earth, wind, and fire. So make sure you set up those. You can also choose any grenade type. I like the grenade D-type grenades. They do damage. And you can do this for each one of your characters. I will say, however, only set up 4 regicides for characters that you see yourself using most in battle. Don't waste a whole ton of regicide on the people who you're not going to send in with your party. Like, I stick to these 4 characters mostly. So these 4 characters, Emlith, Ophelia, Godot, and Bloom, because they give a nice mixture of what you need in this game. So those are the only people I'm equipping for regicide. Give them what you want a mixture of, but I tend to recommend one of each element. I made him a healer, so he is the one difference. Okay, so now that we know how that's done, upgrading. So as you can see, each weapon has this spear grid-esque system. I already upgraded Emlith's sword completely. You do get a trophy for upgrading all the weapons to full capacity as well. So I'm going to Ophelia now. So let's see. I think this one will be next. Yeah, either that. Well, either one, because they're both 80. So when you go in, check your regicide. Now you see Spinning Squall here, rank 5, gives you 23. So I will put that into the upgrade mana engine. Go for your highest ones first that are going to load up your experience as much as possible up until the last one. If they all are saying 80, use the weakest one that you have at that point. That'll complete you to 80, so you can save the other ones for other ones, basically. So attack plus 1 will go into. So 20 on that Spinning Squall, and then we'll use that one to maximize that out. And I just noticed that about her weapon. It does not completely circle on this side. See, the other side completely circled. This one does not. Now, I don't know if there's hidden skills. Emlith didn't have any. So we'll put the rest of what we have into her weapon for now. So we came up a little shy, so we'll have to come back. And that's why I recommended number 5 of redoing missions over and over again. So, number 4 is visit the workshop, his factory, Basil's factory, and upgrade your equipment as much as possible. That is number 4. Number 3, visit the Promenade. There's multiple reasons for this one, actually. you want to visit during each story arc, so you can do special missions called circles, which will tighten your group. So realistically, that's the main reason. And occasionally they'll have you check with the citizens to see how they're liking the war. A big example is right here is the newspaper. And if you get yourself lined up with it, he'll just pick up, let's see what the newspaper have to say. Then it'll give you a little thing. Jutland lends financial support to Avalon, strengthens their newfound independence. Barely any mention the war, people must favor it. But another big reason is the workshop here. So you might have noticed I was getting cloth and other stuff. So what you can do with that is you can go here and order new equipment as far as your armor goes. So let's say boots, for instance. We'll use cowhide, fox fur, and let's get an earth-resistant wool in there. We'll commission the gear. Now, you have to go and do at least one mission for the gear to be made. You can also buy regicide here if you have extra spending money. This lady here will sell you some. So, you see, there's plenty to be had if you need it. Like, I could spend a lot of money right now and just work on upgrading. In fact, I probably will. There we go. Bought all that she had. And then this is what I was talking about here, circle moments. So we'll go in and show you this. So these are sort of like the skits in the Tales game. The only negative I can say is, unlike the skits, you do have to either skip them or read them. If you want to read them, you know, for story's sake, you can. And did we get anything out of this one? So we got a priority out of this one, support, which means I can go in and change my tactics now to set a priority for them, for my characters to do. Sort of like the Gambit system in Final Fantasy 12, if you would. So for number 3, visit the Promenade and make sure you hit up any circles, make sure you hit up any story-based conversations about the war, check the newspaper, and then go to the workshop and work on creating armor. Okay, so that's number 3. Now, number 2, there's nothing going on this time, but I do recommend occasionally visiting the World Cemetery. There sometimes will be events in the World Cemetery. The bar is another one, but more events I have noticed take place in the World Cemetery. So let's go over to the Bubbling Bar and just see if anything's going on. Nothing really going on, but if you want, you can check in with your squad mates and see what they're up to. So number 2 is pretty much visit the outlining spots occasionally. You don't want to do this all the time because it is not needed all the time. It does help in places to get more context to the story. Okay, so we're going to save the game real quick before I go into number 1. Okay, so for number 1, the way this game is told is basically an instructor to her student is reciting the real history. They're called traitors because they chose to take that moniker, and that's the way it was written in the history books, but that's not necessarily the truth. So you're going to see this option here occasionally that says return to Rochelle. So we're going to go back to her. I don't know if anything will pop up this time because I haven't done anything really significant. So nothing popped up this time for me because I haven't done anything really significant since the last time I've been to her. But there are multiple things here. A, Archives of the Revolution. So basically, you'll occasionally get stuff like this that are side stories, and you can go and watch those, and they'll give more context to the game. Also, read these little notes. They'll give you actual information, and there's one for every chapter. There's one set for every chapter in the game. So, you see, there's literally one for every chapter of the game. And I do recommend actually going and viewing these. So, you have the Archives of the Revolution. Then, the Compendium, which is the glossary. So, if you're confused about any facts, like what regicide is, this will give you a detailed explanation. It's not so much as your common glossary, where that gives you enemy types and stuff like that, because there's really only a few major enemy types. This isn't like your standard RPG where you're going to have 5,000 different monsters. You know, most of your enemies are going to be either machine or human. So this is more a compendium of the world. Okay, and finally, you have this here, Notebook, which has little side stories you can click on once you unlock them, and they'll actually give you extra stories, little short video stories that deepen the character connections or show what they're doing on their off time, stuff like that. It's cool to watch, and it does give more context to the characters themselves. So my number 1 is to visit Rochelle whenever you do anything major, just simply because, you know, you'll get more add-on to the story from doing that. Also, keep in mind, you can save in the actual game, and this is where they will load you when you come back. So, say you have to go to work, you save the game while you're in the middle of town or something. When you come back, they will load you here. I believe they even do that for missions that have multi-parts. I didn't try it, but I believe, based on the fact that there's a suspend operation option, that they even do it for that. So those are my top 5 tips for when starting a new game of Valkyria Revolution. If there's anything else you guys would like to ask me about the game, please leave it in the comments. I'm always willing to answer. I really am enjoying this RPG, and you know, I just wanted to give some base starter tips. I may do an expert level tips when I get further into the game or my characters are higher levels. But I just wanted to get a base tips video out for now. I will still be reviewing Star Ocean till the end of time for PS4. I'm probably going to do that when I get up in the morning. And then I'll probably pepper in some gameplay videos for a few days. The next big video will be on the 11th of July for Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age. But until then, this is Omega Zone Gaming, and I am out.